Once again, thanks to Fosi Audio for feeding my review habit. The IM4 is their very first attempt at an IEM which fits in the sub €100 bracket. Just like their i5 planar magnetic headphone, Fosi Audio are doing things a little different. Let's find out why. Fosi Audio has come out swinging with their first IEM. The shells are semi-open CNC aluminium, and in the box you get a decent carry case, 3 sets of labeled tips, 2 sets of interchangeable nozzles, and a braided cable. Starting with the cable, just like the shells, this is definitely above average for the price point, with the only other notable example I've reviewed provided with the Juz Ear Defiant. The ends are marked with blue and red for easy installation, and Fosi Audio has done something I see very rarely. They've recessed the pins for a flush finish with the IEM shells. I love this kind of attention to detail. The aluminium alloy shells have a very minimalist design that is finished and executed just about as well as can be expected at almost any price, although clearly the simplicity of the design is a necessary cost-saving measure when CNC milling is used, which I assume is more costly than hollow resin shells. There are also 2 vents on the ear side of the shells. The 2 nozzles are black-colored aluminium alloy and brass. The black nozzle contains a donut-shaped filter material and creates a darker tone. The brass nozzles are free of damping and create a brighter tone. Either it was a happy accident or they color coordinated it to be that way. In any case, I think it's something other companies could learn from, especially when dealing with up to 3 or 4 sets of nozzles. I was able to wear these for many hours in a single day without any discomfort or obvious audio fatigue. Starting with the isolation, I found that these blocked out significantly less than the average IEM. These are nowhere near as open back as something like the Audeze LCD i4, but I could clearly hear things like train station announcements and other noises while in the city, and it also made it easier for people to get my attention when I was listening to music. There are basically 2 trade-offs here. What you lose in isolation is gained in both soundstage width and the sense of air and space, which are both above average at almost any price point compared to regular closed-back in-ear monitors. One interesting characteristic of the IM4 is its ability to pick up almost every single trace of electrical contamination in your system. Almost every single desktop amplifier I own put out various levels of humming and electrical noise into the IM4. The only desktop amp that was silent enough to enjoy was actually a huge surprise to me, my dusty but trusty A-Class Audio GD NFB 11.28. So it's nice to see it's still got some tricks up its sleeve even today. I therefore did most of my listening through my phone and DS2 dongle DAC. However, I also heard electrical noise while charging the phone, which was a first for me. The IM4 will forever remain in my arsenal, also as some kind of electrical noise dowsing rod. The tuning leans a little more in the direction of having pinna gain no matter which tips and nozzles are used, so I had to use EQ to bring down the 4 to 5 kHz region just a touch. I think also due to the semi-open back design, there is a lack of presence in the lowest sub-bass region, but that isn't to say it doesn't have sub-bass, as the IM4 does present overall as a high-end, fairly neutral tuned IEM. Like all good single DD IEMs, it can take bass boost very well, although these can lean towards being a touch sluggish and boomy or slow depending on how much bass you add and the music you're listening to. The sense of air and space also adds something extra to the timbre and sense of realism in the sound, something quite common in many modern single dynamic driver in-ear monitors. This is definitely one of those products that provides you great benefits as long as you are willing to accept its detriments. Now for some comparisons, the Tantjim Nora. The Nora, being in roughly the same price bracket, presents great competition. It is bassier, warmer, uses a smaller shell, making it a very attractive alternative. The IM4 clearly demonstrates its superior staging and air at the cost of worse isolation, even though the Nora is actually already a little below average in this regard already. The Blonde BL03 Mark II. The Blonde still represents great budget value at almost half the IM4's price, but falls behind dramatically in ergonomics. It has much bigger bass presence, but sounds a bit congested beside the IM4. The SimGot EA1000, at over double the price of the IM4, is a totally different take on what a single dynamic driver in-ear monitor should sound like. Not to mention it also contains a passive radiator diaphragm. Beside the EA1000, the IM4 sounds less authoritative overall, but especially in the lowest bass, and actually a little bit less controlled and splashy in the treble too. The IM4 shone brightest at home or in the office, where isolation was not a deciding factor in my listening gear choice of the day. It offers a relatively neutral, natural, and fatigue-free sound. I think many IEM users will appreciate not only the IM4, but the general trend towards producing open back or semi-open back IEMs, which also ultimately can offer lower sound pressure, which is less fatiguing and likely better for your hearing health and all-day listening comfort. From the moment of unboxing to casually listening over the past couple of weeks, I felt that I was using a product costing significantly more than I originally thought. This is one of the times I actually didn't know the price going into the review, so I was really pleasantly shocked to see it at around half the price I expected. But remember that as a reviewer, my concept of value is probably quite skewed. Anyone looking for a solid IEM that is suited to quieter environments and more comfortable all-day listening, this is a very strong contender. If isolation and sub-bass performance are king, look elsewhere. That's it for now. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.